Well, hello there. So, we've got a football video today. My name's Theo. I'm a middle linebacker for the Hilversum Hurricanes in the Netherlands. I gotta state this enough, I am in Europe. When I record this video, it is Thursday for me, but the video does not go live until I edit it, and it goes up on Friday. It's just how things go. I know, I say that, oh, it's Thursdays and Sundays, but really, you guys see the videos on like Friday and Monday, but you know, at least you get to start your week and end your week on vlogs of mine. I do vlog every day, but that's just more or less life stuff. But you can count on the Friday, Monday videos to be basically around football of sorts. What I do in these videos, while we're currently on Corona-Pause, as some people call it, our season is on pause right now because Corona. So right now I'm answering comments that come in on my channel from previous football videos, and if they're themed about football. Like some people, anyways, we got here, and I always go recent to back to the previous video. So we got glove review, great video dude, just found your channel, I'm glad I did, subbed. Thanks, CLK Music, DBLB Cone Drills, Jeffy's still using this video in 2020. It's a timeless video. 5 basic tips for linebackers, Luis Fonseca. What tips would you suggest for a 4-2-5? Okay, that would be 4 linemen, 2 linebackers, and 5 defensive backs. Well, technically we ran that in my very first team, the Pit Bulls, which is where most people follow me from, that suit-up video in the green jersey. I was a cornerback at that time, and crazy. I was not in the right position. Okay, so we're going to go with that comment and move into the next section. There's a third section later, but that's news about European football and some interesting things that are going on for developments for 2021. Talk about my thoughts on that one too. But in terms of the 4-2-5, again, restating, that's 4 linemen, 2 linebackers, 5 defensive backs. My team runs a 4-3-4, and we similar look like a 4-2-5 when the offense comes out in doubles, and one of the outside linebackers moves out and is splitting the difference between number 2 receiver and the end of the line. So when it comes down to the box, rather than having 3, he jumps out and the rest of us move over. Me as the middle linebacker, I move over and cover his position. He's typically the will linebacker. And the Sam comes over and fills in what would be my position as the Mike linebacker. And at that point, we technically do have a 4-2-5 with 2 rolled down safeties, a free safety, and 2 corners. That's basically how that would work. My thoughts on it? Well, we basically roll ourselves into it every once in a while. I would hope that your 5th defensive back, also known as the nickel back, don't at me for that band. I don't mind them. They're actually pretty okay. And the position is a little weird. The position on football is a little weird. But when you've got 5 defensive backs, you've got one that's sort of weirdly roaming. If they don't technically have a slot, like you've got trips. See, the thing is the 5th defensive back would probably move over and roll back around. It would be the one it would be a rover. So, if they get trips on one side, that defensive back will go over to the other side. Or everything would shift so that, the free safety would roll down, and the rover would become the free safety, and the corners and the corners. Does that make sense? It all depends on how well the defensive backs are. It works, but you really got to have your defensive backs on the ball or multi-positionable. Because, sometimes there are people that are good free safeties, but they don't do well when up front or under 8 yards. So you would probably have your rover wouldn't necessarily be like that. So if your free safety can't roll down and be effective under 8 yards, then your rover's just going to roll over onto the other side and keep your linebacker stationary in the center. Now, I wouldn't mind that necessarily, but again, it does take out one person from the box, because as a fifth defensive back, they are pass first, not run first. And here in the Netherlands, we have a lot of teams that aren't very good at throwing, but they can hand off the ball pretty well. And even then, sometimes it's, I don't know. But they run a lot more. Even if they hand it or they kind of toss it out to the side and they do this like screen route, or whatever counts as a screen route these days in the Netherlands. It's there, but sometimes you're like, this is a screen route. The two receivers are supposed to push the defenders up while this guy gets the ball and gets thing. You didn't block the guy. Well, I thought I was running around. Like, whatever passes is a screen route these days. But anyways, so 4-2-5 works really well if your rover is a jack of all trades, or your 3 safeties, your 2 rolled down safeties and your free safety are all basically interchangeable. Like, I completely understand that, like, Denny, Sophion, and Sophion's friend that just came in this year would be fine as being like 3 interchangeable. Sean, his name's Sean. Those 3 could fundamentally work, to rotate around and not have to like have the 5th defensive back running all over the field. They could kind of, run. But anyways, the other side is the fact that yes, you have less linebackers. I'm a middle linebacker, so I look at this as like, only 2 linebackers. But as you're having 4 linemen, because you have 5 linemen, and thus you have 6 holes, because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 holes, and thus you have 4 linemen and 2 linebackers. So all your holes are covered because your ends come in. You've got a 3 tech, a nose, middle, and then your will linebacker. So your Mike and your will. So it works, but again, you're working on pass heavy, and you've got to have synergy amongst your defensive backs. If you do not have good synergy amongst your defensive backs, could be awkward. But it does allow for some pretty deep protection if you have a really good quarterback on the other side. But it can leave you open to some run vulnerabilities. Okay, now, moving on to not that, going crazy on that. So, what we have here, and I'm going to link to this article below. It's from AmericanFootballInternational.com. It's really a heck of a long thing, but again, link it down below to the whole article. And this is called the European League of Football. Back in 2007, NFL Europe left, and several of the teams that were in NFL Europe were like abandoned and promptly folded. A few of them picked back up afterwards, into their respective leagues, but like Admirals in the Netherlands just fizzled out. A lot of them probably went in and worked with the Crusaders or their home cities, because the Netherlands is pretty small. But like the Frankfurt Universe, Frankfurt Galaxy, whatever they were at the time, are still a team, and they play in the GFL. But this will actually bring brand new American football to the European continent. Bring up 8 teams from Germany and Poland, which are pretty close to the top leagues. We have Italy, Austria, and a couple in France are pretty good contenders. So far the teams are Hamburg, Berlin, Frankfurt, Stuttgart, Hildesheim/Hanover, Ingolstadt, and the 3-time Polish champions, Wrocław Panthers. From what I understand over there in Poland, they don't really have any competition, so people are kind of happy about that the fact that if the Panthers move up into a more professional league in Europe, then the actual top league in Poland will actually be a bit more competitive rather than just everyone trying to, stomp face. Dominating team like that, things get weird. The two shareholders are SEH Sports and Entertainment Holding and Patrick Isume, who will also serve as the ELF commissioner. According to Isume, one of the reasons for playing by NFL rules as opposed to NCAA rules, as played otherwise throughout Europe, like my team, we use NCAA rules almost very rigidly. It was really hard to get used to because my semi-pro teams back in the States played with like some weird like hybrid rules. It was like, okay, so we're doing NFL kickoff, but NCAA kick return, and we're doing a NCAA style PAT with NFL. Like, it was so confusing. Like, it was bad. Playing by NFL rules gives us the opportunity to put a more exciting product into the gridiron, but opens up more possibility to look for a close alliance to the NFL in regards to players and referee development. Now, this is possible. There are a great number of players in here that have gone through the youth teams here in Europe, and even a little bit of adult, and then once they finish their schooling here, they've gone over to do schooling in the United States, picked up on a college team, probably even just a walk-on, and then progressed through there and actually got into the NFL. That's a thing. A couple players recently have actually been recruited to NFL teams from Germany and Austria. So that is a beneficial thing. There is competitive players here and competitive teams. And again, you guys can read more about all of this. There's behalf of the franchises, looking forward to the new league. I'm excited for the new league because it allows at least as an American, knowing there are import players that go to Germany and Finland and Austria, and they are just so over the top. Like, they are so above in skill level to everything. It's sort of like they are major player pieces amongst the import crowd. So maybe this person can go into the Europe thing. I don't know if these teams are going to have European citizenship requirements. Don't think the NFL does, but I'm not sure. I haven't really looked into that one. So it gives another option for players coming out of NCAA can go to Europe, maybe finish college, or just, go try a league and then maybe go from there back to the NFL, like 2 years in a D league or something like that. Because the NFL, it opens up another avenue. And plus, it allows many players to actually get the heck out of the United States and realize that there is a world out there that actually has cool stuff. It isn't just all about whatever is inside your borders. And I know a lot of import players spend a lot of time isolated within their state. Sometimes their states are very, very large, but they can born, raised, go to college in Texas, and then get hired on as an import player and wind up in Germany, and they're like, okay, I've never left the state of Texas before, sort of thing. What do I do? I mean, to be fair, as a football player, they would, because they'd be going to other states, but they wouldn't get out of the country and be like, okay, I don't know the language here, and you guys can barely speak to me in my language, although Germany's pretty good at it, but they ain't got nothing on the Netherlands. People here speak real good English. Sometimes better. Anyways, that's a different topic. But yeah, I like it because it allows Europeans to actually get paid to play American football, rather than this sort of like, oh yeah, well, some are professional, some are not, and it allows perhaps for the import players to see higher level skill and whatnot. I know that a lot of Europeans are frustrated with the import player system. It's sort of like adding spiciness to your dish. You can add spicy, then this person adds spicy, then this person adds spicy, then this person gets even more spicy, and then this people need to get even more spicy pretty soon. You've got people that have no intention of ever having spicy in their dish, needing to put ghost peppers in their food just to mildly maintain some competitive level. And you've got normal players that are like, okay, I don't get to see any playtime because they're too busy putting the import player on all the time. Because, you know, you got to get what you paid for. I understand it. I understand the clicking there, but it's also kind of how the system works. It's really awkward. It's a deep topic. If you guys want me to talk more about my thoughts on this one or how the whole system works over here, comment below. I will make a video on it sometime. I'll pull out the whiteboard and we'll go over stuff. Until then, I'll catch you later. Comment on other videos if you see them for football stuff. Bye.